on this episode of AHA, a dialogue on our local creative economy.
There are over 13,000 freelancers who are in the creative economy in our region.
Learn about the anti-hero of film noir.
Bogart is, I think, very contemporary for a lot of reasons, but he played anti-heroes.
Art that bursts from gallery walls.
I do have things really emerging out of walls and ceilings and floors. Things, kind of like exploding out, this kind of like organized chaos.
A glassblower adds an emotional touch to her creations.
In the studio, I'm inviting the glass to become my vision.
Sometimes the act of making art is the art itself.
I can feel the crowd, even though my back is to them and I'm working. I can sort of feel that tension of like, what's this guy doing?
It's all ahead on this episode of AHA. Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Opalka, Robert and Doris Fisher-Malsardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That is why we take an active role in our community. M&T is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.
Hugh Johnson Advisors proudly supports the arts in our region. The Hugh Johnson Advisors team has been providing investment counsel and fiduciary advice to nonprofits and endowments for over 20 years. More information at hjadvisors.com.
Hi, I'm Katie G, and this is AHA, a house for arts, a place for all things creative. What does the creative economy of the greater capital region look like, and what does the future hold? These are some of the questions that key stakeholders in our local creative economy discussed at a networking event right here at WMHT.
What we're doing today is we're here at an event produced by ACE, the Alliance for a Creative Economy. And what it is a regional body that has gotten together to try and coordinate and promote people who are in the creative economy, which could be a gaming programmer, it could be a videographer, it could be an architect, it could be a graphic designer, an event producer, and specifically people who are freelancers, because there are over 13,000 freelancers who are in the creative economy in our region, or people who are in jobs that are related to the creative economy.
I'm lucky in that I get to pursue my passion. I teach, I have my own company, I'm an artist as well, so to be able to blend all of those things together is, it's really a wonderful privilege to be able to do all that stuff. When you're working for yourself, it's a fun ride, and I'm glad to be able to do it. I provide creative consulting services, so digital strategy, web development, video production, multimedia. This is my passion, so to be able to work in the field, to be able to work in the arts, to be able to work as an entrepreneur, to be able to teach and to share that with my students and inspire them, that's great. I think it's interesting over the years. I've seen a lot of my friends and colleagues really blossom in their careers, and that's really exciting, and it's very energizing to me. So I think there's a lot of like-minded people around doing some great things, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
The creative economy, as I understand it, it's a challenge to keep everything going and still get to do the work that you're actually wanting to do, freelance. You have to manage yourself as a business person as well as do the actual work. I wish that it was always perfect, but it's not. There's always going to be some difficulty in making that balance happen in your life, especially with children, kids, family. I've never had a full-time job. I've never had a boss other than myself. So what I love doesn't become a job in a sense that does become a work, a chore. I go to work and I look forward to doing what I do, and that's a big bonus for me.
I jump out of bed every morning and can barely fall asleep at night because I love what I'm doing so much and feel so lucky to be doing it. It feels great, particularly working in a city like Troy, where it seems like we have a lot of momentum going right now, and we are working collectively in that creative economy. We're looking to launch an all-day cafe called Little Pecs, and part of the idea behind Little Pecs is that people who are part of this creative economy will be able to spend some of their day working in that space, hold meetings in that space, grab lunch, pull out their computer, do their work in a public space where others will potentially be doing the same thing.
I basically have been working in architecture for the last 5 years at a company in Schenectady called Reform Architecture. It was a really unique opportunity because I was able to integrate into the redevelopment of the downtown of the city, and it's a small office. We were really able to do a project from design through construction and get an understanding about different levels of design. For me, it's about lifestyle. I'm also a percussionist. I play with an Afro-Cuban ensemble. It's called Ensemble Congueros, and I think for me, I've always just been interested to kind of keep local strength and empower people around me, and I think that's what sort of drives me. So anytime I can integrate people with other interests that can change my perspective, I think that's successful, and the fact that we're building these creative fields in our region is really opportunistic.
I think that I'm not dissimilar from a lot of people in this room in that I have a lot of different roles in this world. One of them is as the director of a gallery, a small gallery in Saratoga Springs. It's also a project that we run called Saratoga Arts Fest. I'm an executive producer of that. And I'm also on the creative economy panel that started this whole movement to start to talk about how big is this creative economy. And what we stumbled upon when we were doing the creative economy project is a number that I just couldn't let go of. It showed that there were 13,000 creative freelancers in the capital region. That is a huge number. So that the 130 people that are here making all this noise today are just 1% of all the people who are doing this in this region. All the national numbers show that this is a trend that's only growing across the country. So we know it's growing here. And everybody out in this room that I've even talked to since I arrived says, I have one gig and another gig. We're all working a ton of gigs. And this is how we put it together, and that's how creative freelancers do it. There's just been a need for some glue in this area, and that's what we're starting to talk about. How do we all connect, talk about what we do, and I think people are happy to be talking about that now.
I feel very strongly about the power of creative people, and not to get all serious, but when I look around the world and I see the problems that we have even in our region, in our country, I realize one of the groups of people who are not at the table are the creatives, and frankly, those are the problem solvers in our society. And I think we have a lot to give, and I think we have a lot to say, and I think that we need to find ways to be able to collectively get together so that we can be a part of a solution instead of just being these independent little points of light everywhere.
Being a part of it is much different. I feel like everyone has their part that they add to it. I bring the food element, one element of the food, so I'm just trying to add to the culture in any way for the bigger picture. I feel like this is the first and last life we get. There's no do-overs, so I might as well spend it being happy. And if I could be happy with something like this, I'm going to continue to do it. I think it's great. I think it's wide open. I think there's also room for significant opportunity from the both seeking and also looking to do the work as well. I think both sides can grow, and I think it's just going to continue to grow over the next few years.
The Foundry for Art, Design, and Culture, we're a creative and cultural services firm. Under the creative services, we do branding, print, web design, videography, social media management. I've had the privilege of working for myself for the past 20 years, off and on, in some capacity. The opportunity to do the work that I love, that really just excites me personally, that's highly creative, but is also meant to better the world, help people communicate better. Holding on to that, it's really vital, and especially now that I've been doing it for so long, it's become even more important. Having gone back and worked for other people, I just don't want to do that anymore. I really want the freedom to work for myself and pick and choose my clients and the type of work that really resonates to my personal philosophies and our core philosophies within the Foundry. And so it's very important to us.
One of the things that you find here and that I felt tonight is this idea of reciprocity that's really important in the creative economy, and that, you know, the give and take and the helping of colleagues and other people who are doing the work that they want to do. And that's how we really shine.
My outlook is one of wariness and a little bit of confusion, but I think that it could be very successful as long as I take the appropriate steps and make sure I still have fun when I do it. I hope that it will blossom into a business that's sustainable and will make money for me. At the same time, have it still be fun and a passion, because I have a passion for it and I enjoy doing it. So it's tricky, so I've got to find a nice balance in there.
Tonight, so far, I see a lot of new faces, and that's always very, very exciting. And I think that that's something that I always look forward to, seeing the same faces, but also seeing new faces. And I see a lot of new faces tonight.
We have people of all ages here. We have people of all interests and are working in all genres, and we just haven't met them yet. The interest has been phenomenal just on our very first try, but this is just us getting started. This is our very first try, and it's really turned out like gangbusters.
What I'm specifically interested in and excited about in our particular region right now is something that I see coalescing around many arts institutions. Tonight we're at an event that involves people from Proctor's, WMHT, my company, 2440 Design Studio, the Nordsley Institution, Spring Street Gallery out of Saratoga, all converging, coming together to create a moment together that synergizes us all together. So I see that beginning to happen more and more in our region. Rather than being siloed, I see institutions beginning to collaboratively clasp shoulders and move forward to create bigger outcomes for our region. And that means dollars for our region, and that means quality of life. And who wouldn't want that?
Every few years, a new generation of cinema aficionados discover the films of the anti-hero actor Humphrey Bogart. Key Largo, an island in Florida, is named after Bogart's movie Key Largo, and now is the site of the first annual movie festival celebrating film noir and Bogart's classics.
First off, Humphrey Bogart had the good fortune to be in more than a handful of really great movies. You know, there's some wonderful actors who I love and old movie buffs care about, but they don't have the reputations nowadays because the films haven't held up or the films aren't as well known. Bogart is, I think, very contemporary for a lot of reasons, but he played anti-heroes. He didn't play pretty boys. He played men with inner conflicts and who questioned things. And that's a very fresh kind of idea that still appeals to people today. The character of Rick in Casablanca is anything but a conventional Hollywood hero.
Check that. That's the mother sign goes. That's the original.
My sister and I had been thinking about something like this for a number of years. Now was the right time, and Key Largo jumped right in. They threw everything they had at it. They were behind it 100%. 10 of my father's movies, 10 other movies, everything from Double Indemnity and Chinatown and Sunset Boulevard to Drive, which is the Ryan Gosling movie. It's a noir festival, and so all the movies are going to be based on that. A lot of different films, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, African Queen. There's a lot of stuff. There's a Casablanca Ball. Jack Houston's going to be down here accepting the Maltese Falcon Award on behalf of his grandfather. Where else, you know? You're not going to go to Africa. We could do the African Queen. But it was perfect. It's a name that's well known. It's a name that people identify with. They made the song, and it was one of my mother and father's finest films. Houston, Eddie Robinson, and you know, it was the perfect place to do it.
The town is named Key Largo because of the movie. They actually changed the name to Key Largo because it resonated so strongly from the 1948 movie that Bogart was in. Director Howard Hawks caught lightning in a bottle when he discovered Lauren Bacall and cast her opposite Bogart into Have and Have Not. And you just can't invent it. You can't create it. It's either there or it isn't there, and it was there. Well, my favorite film of all is Casablanca, which I saw during a Bogart revival in the late 60s. At that time, he was sort of rediscovered by a new generation. And I was one of the lucky ones who got to see that film for the first time in a movie theater. Not on TV, not on some form of home video, which came later, but in a theater, on a big screen, in the dark, the way it should be seen at its best.
I'm trying to turn my daughter into one.
I hope it happens. I hope it happens every year, and I hope everybody comes down and has a good time. That everybody's happy with how it comes out. That's really all you can ask for the first one.
Jonathan Latiano is a Baltimore, Maryland-based installation artist, creating works that seem to lunge out of the floor or emerge from the ground. Playing with themes of environmentalism and extinction, Latiano's exhibitions explore what it means to be temporary, both in form and in presence. Take a look.
They talk about this thing in sculpture where sculpture ends at the floor. How do you make someone hyper-aware of the space around them so that you begin to talk about this idea that it doesn't end at the floor, that maybe it continues? Installation art is sculpture that you can walk into. It's an immersive environment. It's one of those things you happen upon it, and all of a sudden you're inside of it. I do have things really emerging out of walls and ceilings and floors. Things, you know, kind of like exploding out. This kind of like organized chaos. Mirrors are extremely important to me. When a viewer sees themselves in the work, they become very, very hyper-aware of their relationship to it. This also idea of like the atmosphere, the sky, being such an important visual element, because I'm taking that, right, and I'm like really just shoving it down, scrunching it up into the ground. During the day, it was really bright. You know, if it was cloudy out, it'd be this kind of gray piece. If it was sunset, it would be this really kind of nice, almost cool pink on the inside. And then at night, which ended up being my favorite time with the work, it was just this black rock. So many things in our ecosystems and things, I mean, entire ecosystems and things like that are collapsing right now. And then they will be gone. When something is extinct, it's pretty much, that's it. Most of my work has this life cycle. It'll exist for 2 weeks or a month. Once I deinstall it, it will not be shown again. And so that's one of those things, it's like whether the viewer likes this piece or dislikes it, or they agree with it, or they hate it, or whatever, I mean, it only exists just for this moment. There is so much beauty in that fleeting moment.
Michelle Kaptur composes beautiful blown glass pieces with inspiration from an unlikely source, her dog. Reporter Katrina Sarson learns how Kaptur goes beyond their traditional notions of art and infuses a sense of personal connection in every creation.
We're just outside Bend at the studio of glassblower Michelle Kaptur. She's working with her dog Sarah on agility skills while the furnace heats up. She says it's all part of her creative process.
Go, Wee, go, 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 go. Yay, good. When I work with Sarah, I have to totally focus on my body, what I'm doing, because she's reading everything the way I move, that's how I direct her around here. These are the weave poles behind me. I'll tell you, it took, I don't know, a year to train her to do that. Go, go, go. Yay, good girl. But the first time she went through them straight, it was like, wow! I was beside myself. She was a pretty happy girl about it all. Free, over.
But what does all this have to do with blowing glass?
In the studio, I'm inviting the glass to become my vision.
Michelle discovered the art of blowing glass in 1975 at Alder House, a glass-blowing studio in Lincoln City.
And I walked into that studio and I was totally mesmerized by the glass and the process, and you know, it was like an addiction. It just happened right then and there.
Mark Gordon is Michelle's studio assistant. They've worked together for the past few years.
Basically, my job is to facilitate and give her a second set of hands and eyes, and she comes up with an idea, gives her the ability to step her work up to the highest level it can be.
Michelle usually mails the Solburst to a client. Today, though, a nearby friend has stopped by to pick hers up.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It contains ashes from her mother.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's just, it's light, and that's what's important to me. The thing I love about your glass in my home and in these is that your glass relates to the light, and I can't think of any better way to have my mom or others that I love than in the light. Exactly. So thank you. That is beautiful. It's just a bit of joy. My mom would like that. Michelle's glasswork to me is a creation of light because I've watched her blow it, and I've watched essentially fire and light come together from some small thing into some amazing piece. The Solburst is a perfect thing for her to do. It is a burst of light. It is light holding, in this case, something very special.
What I'm really doing is trying to create the prettiest little painting in that little spot in a way that's going to be beautiful and that's going to give you joy when you look at it. And that's hard because it's going to be really sad at first. But I want it to be a celebration.
In our last segment, we meet artist Brian Olsen, whose art is as much about the process of creating as it is about the work itself. Sometimes wielding as many as 6 brushes at once, Olsen rapidly paints stunning murals before a live audience.
Every single show that I do is a complete surprise. I can feel the crowd, even though my back is to them and I'm working. I can sort of feel that tension of like, what's this guy doing?
Performance painter Brian Olsen's work makes his audience wonder. Yeah, there's paint, brushes, and a blank black canvas, but there's nothing predictable about the way that he creates portraits. He keeps the crowd guessing until the end.
So when you approach the canvas, walk us through, you're looking at this sea of black, but obviously you see an end point where the audience is completely blind to where you might be going. How do you know where to start?
Right, so when I'm developing like this piece right here, I always sort of start in this zone here. So I sort of get this T shape figured out. That then frames everything else in the piece. And then everything basically comes together after that. And then you have the background, which is sort of the finale of the piece. So even though you have this shape here, you really don't get the full effect of it until this background comes in. I have sort of 2 different styles of paintings that I do. One are the multiple brushes in each hand, and that has a certain look to it. Other paintings that I'm not using any brushes at all, just my fingers or my hands or maybe an elbow here or there. There are different textures that way too. Smooth brush strokes versus kind of a rough use of the fingers. This piece right here is created entirely with my hands, just my fingers. This is much more of a masculine sort of look. So I wouldn't ever paint Audrey Hepburn just with my fingers. So this is one that I'll use the 6 brushes at the same time. You can tell like it's much smoother, the skin tones are even. It just gives a different look, a different texture, and a different feel of the piece.
Those styles set, Olsen steps on stage. That's when the audience behind him becomes just as important as all of that technique.
There's massive amounts of adrenaline and energy and all of that, and I really kind of feed off of that. It's just a moment in time. And what I'm really trying to do is I'm really trying to share the creative process with my audience. But there's always a surprise. And then when it all comes together, it's, I don't know how to describe it, but that's why I love entertaining. It's just a cool feeling.
And that wraps it up for this edition of AHA. For more arts and culture, visit WMHT.org/AHA, where you'll find features about our creative world in our backyards and across the country. Until next time, I'm Katie G. Thanks for watching. Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Opalka, Robert and Doris Fisher-Malsardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That is why we take an active role in our community. M&T is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.
Hugh Johnson Advisors proudly supports the arts in our region. The Hugh Johnson Advisors team has been providing investment counsel and fiduciary advice to nonprofits and endowments for over 20 years. More information at hjadvisors.com.